very pleased to speak. That was a load of rubbish. I normally rate that member very highly, but the facts are this. Under our government, for the last 6 years, we have successively increased the education budget. $10.8 billion in the most difficult financial times. Every single year, we have increased the education budget. Secondly, when it comes to our most vulnerable students, whether that is students who have special education difficulties, or whether that is those students who have had real issues in terms of numeracy and literacy, this budget is better than ever for them. Let's walk through it. If we look at ECE participation, particularly around Māori and Pacific young people, that is up. That is up by 4 to 5%. That is incredibly significant, and that is about the future of our country. When we actually look at the facts in terms of participation around early childhood education, we are absolutely on track for 98%. We've got more money going into early childhood education. I think there's $75 million in this budget. That is about doing everything we can to make sure that all students in this country are successful. When it comes to special education, this budget is great in terms of special education. We've got $40 million going into OARS fundings. That means 500 young people who have and need that additional support, whether that's teacher aid time, whether it's physiotherapists, speech language therapists. We are putting the resource into them. And I want to acknowledge the Honourable Hekia Parata. I think this is a great budget in terms of what she's done. She has real vision, and she is investing in some of our most vulnerable students. It also includes $24 million for additional class support. That's 1,500. That's the first phase of another group of students that need that additional help in terms of our education system. So when that member tells us that somehow we've underfunded education, well, it's a 26% increase in special education under our government, $500 million more for some of our most vulnerable students. When it comes to trade academies, more money than ever. So when that member says that we're not aspirational for Northland, that is a complete load of rubbish. What are we doing in terms of modern learning and education environments for Northland? Well, the other day I found out that we are so far ahead of schedule in terms of the rollout of Network for Learning. That's fast, uncapped data paid for by the Crown, a real passport to the future for these students, that 600,000 students are now connected. That is students in Northland. That is a country, that is a government that is aspirational for those people in Northland. That is real, actual resources going to those students in Northland. That's on the back of $700 million of investment in both ultra-fast broadband, uncapped data, ensuring that our students are equipped for the future. When it comes to school property, we were handed old. Over 60% of our schools were more than 40 years old. We had leaky buildings, we had a whole range of design issues, we had a whole lot of relocatables. What have we done? Well, we have invested billions of dollars in terms of upgrading these schools and major redevelopments. I can confirm in this budget, we've got hundreds of millions of dollars as well, going into not only new schools, but also ensuring that we can fix some of those really old schools. Today I announced Lepperton in North Taranaki. We have 14 schools through our major redevelopment program. We've got more coming. And this is on the back of hundreds of millions of dollars as well in terms of investing in growth. So in places like Auckland, Hamilton and Queenstown, this budget is good because we're actually building those schools and we're actually putting those classrooms where they need to be, and we're doing that ahead of the curve. From my perspective, we are investing more than ever in both school property, modern learning environments, but we are actually doing so much for vulnerable students. So we are a government that is not only aspirational, focused on the future for those students, but we are absolutely focused on some of our most vulnerable students, and that is crystal clear in this budget through the increase in terms of special education funding, through the increase in early childhood participation funding, through a range of other projects, from the Gateway Assessment Program, which is about ensuring that 3,800 needy children get access to early childhood and schooling services, to the Year 9 Plus trial, which is $2.2 million to educational champions. We are a government that has a strong social conscience and is also very focused on the economy. And to hear from members opposite that we are not aspirational about students, but that we are not investing in them, is an absolute load of rubbish. This government has successively increased the education budget every year since we've been in government.
I call Catherine Delahunty.
Mr Chair.